Hey, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Picture International with me, Darius. Today's the 22nd of September 2023. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear from that little left corner in there and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we go further into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us, guys. So, let's jump in and let's jump into the charts. And look, basically yesterday, first of all, I want to apologize. Yesterday we had a bit of a power cut, and my webinar didn't finish properly, but okay, I'll pick up on those pairs today. Hopefully you'll be able to stick around with me today. So yes, as I said, apologies for yesterday's webinar, because again, it was all running well and smooth, and then boom, that's it. Cut off, and oh well, things happen. So we just brush off and plow further. Now, Nikkei 225. Okay, look, this week has been quite an interesting one, and to be honest, a little bit more on the bearish side for the equities, and we saw that with the US indices as well, but I'll get to those in a bit. So looking at the picture here, look, I said to you before that if we do fall below this 33,000 mark, my next target is the 50-day EMA. If that gets cleared, then yep, maybe I'll aim for this 100-day EMA, because the thing is that what I was saying before as well, that look, I'm going to be very careful around this 50-day EMA, just in order not to have something similar as we had here in the beginning of September, where we just kind of oscillated around that 50-day EMA. So that's why for now, I would say if you're looking for some further declines, well, I think the easier option here is to pick up here on this 100-day EMA and wait for it, because it provided good support recently. So if we do clear it, then my next target is the 31,243, approximately around there. This morning, by the way, in terms of economic data sets, this morning we got some numbers from Japan, the Bank of Japan joined forces with the rest of the banks this week and did not go for a rate hike. We saw the bank and the BOJ kind of staying with the same rate, minus 0.1. I think that what they've mentioned was that the inflation has kind of ticked down a little bit. So that's why, for example, the BOJ decision was a little bit later. I think when it was like around 3 hours later, something like that, after the inflation. Yeah. So look, in general, everybody's all the central banks this week decided to stay with no rate hikes and just stay with what they have. And I think that everybody's afraid of the fall in inflation right now. And sorry, not afraid, but everybody's happy. But the only thing is that they're trying to balance it out in order not to go way too drastically with the increases, because this might damage the market. However, everybody says that they have room for more rate hikes if needed. So basically, they're not giving up on the rate hikes yet. So okay, we'll see. We'll see how that goes, but we'll continue monitoring the inflation numbers. So coming back to Nikkei, look, the downside scenario I just mentioned to you. The upside scenario, I think that the reasonable option here is to wait for a pop up of the 50-day EMA, and then we could maybe consider a move back towards this downside line. I don't know why it's getting skewed all the time, but yes, this one right there. This downside line and that 33,000 mark. So yes, this is going to be my next game plan. CNX USD, which is the China 50 index. Look at this beautiful thing. I mean, this is just crazy. We have popped higher here very strongly, and this is kind of a bit of a against the all other indices, where you know what's happening. So look, I think that the news that came out, let me just confirm that, because the yeah, so basically technology, yeah, so okay, look, I think the tech sector gave a boost to China. So the Chinese tech sector gave a boost to the Chinese indices, and especially this one, the China 50. And yes, I think the market participants saw PBoC's decision to keep the rate at the same level as a positive. I mean, the forecast was already to keep it at the same level, but you know. Anything can happen. So, and that's why I think that the market participants took that today as a positive. And although the news came out on Wednesday that the PBoC loan prime rate remains at 3.45, and the prime rate, the 5-year one, also remains at 4.2. So I think that yes, this gave a little boost, and I mean, I understand it. It's kind of a little bit like 2 days later, right? Yeah, but the thing is that I think that the market was waiting for the Fed to come out, then was waiting for the BoE, the SNB, and the BOJ to come out as well. And there we go. We're seeing that, you know, China's index is pushing back up. Maybe it's because China is one of the, of course, as you know, one of the biggest exporters of tech, of everything in general. And if in other countries the interest rates remained on the lower side, that means that maybe the companies in there will be able to afford to continue running, and that means that they will continue purchasing goods from China. And there we go. We have this nice, beautiful connection here, and this is where, you know, you're getting that positive reaction in the index here, in the Chinese index. So okay, that is quite interesting, of course. My question here from the technical side, will we get a clear breakout here through this downside line? So far, we're flirting with it. My question is, can we get that break? If we can, okay, wonderful. I will go further north, but probably I'll get more excited with further upside is on a break of this 12,721 territory, somewhere around here, and then we'll take it from there. Now, good morning, everyone in the chat room. Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Friday. And I'll put a smiley face. But you know what, TradingView, if you're listening, this smiley face which you put, it seems like it's like the laughing one. So it's sometimes, although you're thinking that you're going to put a smiley face, but actually you're it's more like a laughing one. And it might give a wrong perception. Let's say if somebody is, writing something and you're replying with a smiley face, but actually you're laughing, so it seems maybe you're actually laughing at them. So yeah, a little bit of weird choice, but hey, anyway, yeah, big problems in life, right? Smiley face, wrong smiley face. Anyway, so coming back to the indices, ASX 200, again, similar story. Look, we waited for the last bank, central bank to come out today, Bank of Japan, and that one also kept interest rates the same. So basically, it's kind of helping. It seems like it could be helping to stimulate the market. Now, let's wait and see, of course. At the moment, I am, like I said, we got my move. I was talking about this idea of waiting for a break of this upside line, this flatter one, and targeting then my 7,040 zone, which we managed to reach. But not only that, we actually managed to reach the 7,000 mark itself, the psychological 7,000 mark, and we rebounded kind of from slightly below that area, but still okay. Look. What I can say here is that the fact that we are pushing back above this flatter upside line, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting because I mean, maybe actually more bulls will jump on this one and pick up, and potentially could drive the index back to the upside. So of course, let's wait and see. Let's not rush into things. But again. I think that there is a good chance we could see some, more upside here if we do remain above this flatter upside line. Also, another thing to consider is maybe this little hurdle right here. Let me just grab this one. There we go. So this little inside swing low of the 8th of September near the 7,106 zone. And as you can see, it's a perfect match. I mean, it's providing fantastic resistance so far. Let's wait and see, of course. And if we do climb and stay above this area, then yes, more buyers could join in. In terms of the downside, look, again, a drop back below this upside line might do the trick for a few more sellers. Then we could aim for that 7,040 zone. But then, yes, we'll have to just take it from there. If it clears that, great. The 7,000 mark gets back onto the table. But if it doesn't, then maybe we'll see this one bouncing around here, maybe actually forming something of a range as well. So let's not exclude that one. And another thing that I'm actually trying to with which I'm trying to complicate my life here a little bit is the potential idea of maybe a bearish flag or something like that. Because look, this is a nice pull. Maybe this is gonna start moving sideways here a little bit. We first of all we'll ignore this. You know what? Actually, you know what? We can ignore this upside line already, and just purely stick to the 7,106 zone somewhere around here. If we stay below it and we start moving sideways, then maybe this is going to end up being a nice little bearish flag. We'll like I said, let's see. But if not, if we do push and stay above this territory and then we slowly start climbing higher towards my EMAs here, initially that's what I'm going to be aiming for, and then we'll take it from there. Dow Jones Industrial Average. So yesterday we saw a decline across the board, across all the indices in the US. Dow was the least. It lost the least. The biggest loser yesterday was Nasdaq. But as we know, I mean, Nasdaq and Dow kind of tend to move in those directions, like basically where now if Nasdaq is winning, Dow is losing. Dow is the biggest loser. If Dow is winning, Nasdaq is the biggest loser. So yeah, but it's interesting to watch this. So look, maybe you can actually utilize that idea. Hey, there's a hint for you there. So look, what can I say here? I can, in terms of further declines, there is still a good chance of seeing that. Of course, don't get me wrong. I think that this week might end up being like this. And however, if today, by any chance, and this is the weekly chart that I'm looking at, if today, by any chance, we drift back above these two trend lines, the ones that I have here, somehow we climb back and stay above those, you'll have a beautiful false breakout here on the weekly chart, and maybe we could examine some further upside. So today, although I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside, I'm not excluding neither of these scenarios. So let's keep that in mind. So yes, if we do somehow climb back above this 50-day EMA here on my daily chart, then yes, I will go higher. The S&P 500, also similar story. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Of course, we know that the Fed also kept interest rates the same. Should I say, the Fed kind of went, yes, it kept the rates the same, basically at 5.5. And already almost doubted myself, honestly, with this information. But what I'm saying, that what I wanted to say is that they have decided, yes, to go and hike more if needed by the end of this year. So in a way, they're saying that, there's going to be another hike this year. By the end of this year, but when will that be? Will it be November or December? We don't know yet, because look, we have 2 meetings left, right, for this year, and one is November, one is December, and the moment the November one is sitting at with no rate hikes, right? However, because we still have like end of September to go through and the whole month of October, I don't know, somehow this kind of gives me this idea that it might stabilize, go to 50-50, then keep this intrigue. They're not going to go for a rate hike in November, and then December, boom, they're going to finish off December with a rate hike, and then, yes, it will be quite interesting to see what's going to happen further. Now, look, further in these kind of further interest rates, all the way to December 24. Yeah, that's the interesting bit to keep an eye on. But you can see that there are percentages noted for a decline. So this is what they're kind of expecting. They're expecting to push rates lower going into next year. Of course, so we'll see how that goes. But again, for now, we are just observing these November, December one. And then, yes, we will kind of go from that information. But I think that, okay, look, I'll make this projection. I think that maybe November, they're not going to do anything, and then keep it for December. And then December will be a beautiful, move. They will go for a rate hike. So in that case, what we could see is maybe actually a reversal back to the upside in indices at some point in the near future, because if the market right now is bearish, everybody's like considering that idea of more rate hikes. Yes, it's scaring everybody, but once it settles down, and I think that, look, we had the same story last time, right? And kind of the market adjusts, the market settles down, and then everybody takes that into consideration and like, hey, you know what? Not everything's that bad. Let's go higher. And then we go back to the upside. So that's why I'm not really, yes, I'm currently cautiously bearish, but I'm just being very, very careful right now, and for sure not excluding the upside scenario. I'm not saying that we're going to go like for the all-time highs or something. No, we might just go a little bit higher. Maybe, let's say, from the technical perspective, maybe we could actually end up testing something around this. And then, yes, we could kind of take it from there. So, yes, if we do push back above the 50-day EMA here on my daily chart, then, yes, I will consider a move higher. But at this point, I'm leaning towards the downside, towards that 4,350 zone here on the S&P 500, or even maybe towards that 200-day EMA, which is roughly on my chart, roughly around that 4,318 zone. NASDAQ 100. So again, similar story. Look, we drifted lower. I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm just gonna redraw this chart a little bit. I'm gonna recycle these lines. Always recycle, guys. Yes, I will keep an eye on this territory right here, this downside line drawn from the high of the 19th of July. And yes, if we wanna go higher, for example, then I think that we need to start looking for some sort of a support area. I don't know, like, I mean, maybe it's here somewhere, or maybe it's not going to be this even. But this, to be honest, looks quite interesting. So look, at the moment, I think that I will stick to this actually upside line, this newly drawn upside line. What I said to you this week, in the beginning of this week, that if we do fall below the 15,223 territory, I'll lean towards the downside. My mission accomplished. Good. I reached my target, so I reached my goal. So now what's next? What's next is, like I said, this upside line, which I've just drawn, and I think I'm going to like it. Let's see if that's going to work or not. But if we somehow pierce through this upside line, then yes, my next target is the 14,609 zone right there. The German index, DAX. Just bear with me. So the German index, DAX, okay, look, at the moment, in general, everything's working out. So also my scenario that I've talked about this week, I said to you that if we do fall below these EMAs, the 50 and the 100, I'll lean for the downside. And to be honest, my target got reached, the 15,600 zone. We've managed to, okay, look, it's not a perfect hit, but we reached this area. This is, by the way, these are the futures, by the way, that I'm looking at. So on the cash index, you might have something else, but still good result right here. So in general, I do like the idea of maybe testing the 200-day EMA, but you know, I kind of think that that might be as a like a false breakout. So basically this area so far, let me just mark it for our future reference. This one right there. This one right there. Yep, is providing good support for now. If we do pierce through it, like I said, I'll aim for the 200-day EMA, but don't be surprised, for example, if we do get like a false breakout and then by the end of the day it just kind of drifts back above this hurdle, back above this 15,600 zone. And then, yes, we'll kind of go from there. So long story short, if you're looking for some higher levels, I think that adjustments have to be made here. So we have ourselves a steep downside line, which I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. And, yep, for the upside, I need to see a break of this downside line, the steep downside line, and then I'll consider some moves to the upside. The FTSE 100, look, the FTSE 100, let it load up a little bit because my something is lagging here a little bit. Okay, I'll take a sip of tea. Yeah, take your time. Let's call it taking. In general, everybody, I don't know who's joining in right now. How are you doing today? How are you feeling after this week? Let me know. While my chart is trying to load up here a little bit. There we go. It's loading up. But in the meantime, yes, let me know, guys. How are you feeling this week or after this week? You know, after the crazy, because again, in the beginning of this week, I told you it's going to be a bit of a crazy one, you know. So, and actually it was. So how is your trading? How did you, how did you do? In general, let me know, because I'm really curious, because again, I've asked people around here in my office, so you know, how is their week in terms of trading, and it's kind of a 50-50, you know, moment. So let me know how is it with you? How did your week go? Okay, right. I think my internet was jumping around here a little bit, and I think that maybe I am back on track right now. So, hopefully I am. Okay, right. Right. FTSE 100. So this one's a little bit of an annoying. Why? Because the 7,700 zone is something that I was keeping a close eye on, and we kind of violated it yesterday, and then today we're kind of pushing back above it. So it's not really picture perfect scenario. So long story short, what I will say right now is that look, I will still remain I'll still keep on monitoring that 7,700 zone. If we continue to trade above it, great. I'll go a little bit more to the upside. But if we somehow, let's say, struggle with it and we drift back below it, then maybe a bit of a move to the downside here could be possible. So another option to do here, or another thing to do here is, if you want to be a little bit more on the careful side, is this. So what you can wait for a pop above the 7,808 zone right there in order to go higher, because again, this is a possible bullish flag. If it is a bullish flag, then we could see a nice pop here right there. So just kind of be careful with that one. Now, so yeah, that's the situation here on the FTSE 100. If we somehow, like I said, if we somehow fall back below the 7,700 zone, I might consider a larger correction to the downside. US dollar index. So I hope it's all. Can somebody in the chat room message me and just to say that if everything's okay, if the stream is coming through, because somehow my internet seems like that my internet is jumping around a little bit. So, I just want to be on the sure side. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Look, I mean, I hope everything is going well. Right. Okay. The US dollar. US dollar. Look, beautiful test of this 105.44 territory. I talked about this, but I need that confirmation pop above it. So look, in general, we have already had quite a decent up move, and but so far this barrier is providing good resistance. So in a way, we can continue monitoring it. And if we do get a nice pop above that barrier, then yes, a forthcoming higher high will be confirmed, potentially attracting more buyers into the game towards the end, aiming for the 105.87 territory right there, which is the highest point of March of 2023, of course. And this is, of course, also the current highest point of this year. Okay, interesting. So let's see if we can reach that level anytime soon. But for that idea, I will wait for a pop above this barrier first. This 105.44. Now, in terms of the downside, a break of this upside line is required, and then yes, we could go lower. However, I will get more comfortable with the downside if we do drop below this 104.39 zone, and then we'll take it from there. So gold, yesterday, yes, the stronger US dollar helped out gold to drift lower. And look at this move. Look at this spectacular move, guys. Look, first of all, I talked about this idea here, the 1924. I said to you that if we do drop below it, I'll aim lower. I'll aim initially for the 200-day EMA tick, and then I'll aim for the upside line drawn from the low of the 20th of August. So what's happening here, basically we are having some false breakouts, and there we go. Yesterday we've tested this territory, there we go, tested this 1914 zone from which we rebounded and pushed back up. Okay, this will become quite an important area to watch, I think. So now again, if we do fall again below the 1924 territory, I'll lean towards the downside. For the upside, I need to see a push above the downside line right here, drawn from the high of the 3rd of May. And also I need to see a push above all of the EMAs right there in order to get comfortable with some higher levels. So that's, like I said, that's the game plan here for now. And gold, I get it. Maybe it's not the most exciting option here for the upside, but hey, I'd rather stay safe than sorry. Let me just double check very quickly something here. Let me see if everything is working, because okay. Right, guys, just a sec. I'm trying to see if everything's working okay. Everything's working well. But yeah. Right, okay, guys. Let me just double check this. Right. Okay. I think everything is working well so far. I mean, because honestly, like yesterday we had a bit of a power cut. So and now I'm kind of a little bit paranoid if everything's working well or not. So hopefully it's okay. But okay, let's continue. Anyway, jumping into silver, guys. Silver, yes, there we go. We're having that pop. We're moving higher, and we are pushing above the EMAs here, my EMAs. So what I said to you before, that if we do climb above it and stay above it, then yes, potentially could attract more buyers into the game. And there we go. It seems like it's doing a good job. Yesterday we saw that decline, we saw that drop, but it was a false breakout. So now it's the question is, can we stay above the EMAs, and can we then target this downside line drawn from the high of the 4th of May? Let's wait and see. Oil, yes, this upside line needs to go, no longer needed. I think it's something here that I'm going to be watching. So look, I said to you before that if we do some, yesterday I've mentioned oil, and I said to you that if we do climb and stay above this climb back and stay above this 90.10 territory, then yes, it's kind of bringing the upside scenario back on the table. Will that be the case? Let's wait and see. At the moment, I'm going to consider the upside as my main scenario as long as we stay above the 90.10 territory. If we start falling back below it, okay, maybe a bit of a move lower here could be possible. However, I'll get more comfortable with the downside if we do drop somewhere below this little hurdle here, this 88 point, actually not this one, but this one right there, 88.37, something like that. If we do fall below it, I'll consider a larger correction to the downside. So soybeans, just a quick update. There we go. I've talked about soybeans this week, and I said to you that, look, if we continue to trade below the 1319 level, I'm going to aim lower, initially targeting the the 1300 level, and then the 1270 zone, somewhere around there. So far, it has been a good run. This is also one of those levels that I said I'm going to mark, this 1295. 194, something like that, and there we go. We got that test. Beautiful. If we can clear that one, then like I said, my next target is the lowest point of May of 2023, or actually the current lowest point of this year. Bitcoin, so drifting back to the downside, back below the EMA. So look, this is where I keep on saying that the bulls should not get their hopes up yet, because again, we do have some obstacles here, and as I said, my upside scenario will be from here, from a break of this downside line drawn from the high of the 13th of July, and also from a push above the remaining EMAs. If I get that, I'll go to the upside. For the downside, well, this is where the interesting bit comes in from the very short-term perspective. This 26,434 territory is doing the good job right now. It's providing good support, or you can say actually the 400 zone, the 26,400 zone is providing good support. If that gets cleared, yes, I will go a little bit to the downside. Ripple is it's stuck below the 200-day EMA, and look, if you want to see some higher levels, I think that a push above all of these EMAs here on my daily chart would be needed. Look, I can draw a level, maybe somewhere around here as well, the 0.5493, or maybe even this other area right there, 0.55. In general, maybe you could keep an eye on the 0.55 territory. Actually, if we do climb nicely above it, then yes, I will go a little bit higher. We'll go a little bit more to the upside, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. For the downside, well, this is where a few adjustments have to be made, and I think that for the downside, let's see if this is going to work. So maybe a break below this upside line right there could be the case, could be a good option for the sellers. So a break below this upside line drawn from the low the 17th of August might attract a few more sellers. AUDUSD. Look, I've talked about this one yesterday. I said to you that if we do fall and stay back below this upside line, and yesterday we did, while I was talking, we did fall below this upside line, and we stayed below it. So far we're getting a nice little retracement. But look, I've mentioned this idea as well before, that whenever we break a trend line, either it's an upside or a downside one, we kind of tend to test it from the other side, and this is what we're doing right now. Now the question is, will we stay below that upside line right now? That's a good one, of course. That's a good question. But if we do, then yes, I'm leaning towards the downside, towards the lower side of this range, because don't forget that I have these highlighted zones right here, areas, and these are kind of marking this range where we're currently sitting at. So in a way, I am kind of carefully aiming for the lower side of this range. AUDNZD, AUDNZD, guys, yes, we fell below the upside line. I talked about this when I said that if we're going to stay above this, then there is a good chance to see a move back up, but we failed to, stay above this upside line, and we fell. And that's fine as well, because now we can examine the downside scenario and aim for the lower side of this range, because don't forget that we are in a range right now as well. And yes, then we'll take it from there. If we somehow climb back above the upside line and all these EMAs right here, then yes, I will consider a move towards the upper side of the range. NZDUSD. So yesterday, as you know, we got some data from, was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday, from New Zealand with their GDP numbers, and those managed to come out nice and high. Yes, we got initially a nice and we got a nice reversal back up here on NZDUSD, but I think this is mainly kind of subject to US dollar right now. So, but as we can see, the bulls are not giving up here, and they're trying to push it higher. Look, in terms of higher levels on this one, I think that the better option for me is to maybe mark something around this area right here. So yes, and it coincides nicely with the 50-day EMA. So if we do pop above this area, then yes, I will consider a nice move to the upside, maybe even towards the what's happening here, honestly, arrow. Okay, and this one right there. Somebody's messing with my arrows and my lines. But look, I will aim higher if we do push above this downside line and above this 50-day EMA. If we get that, great. We'll aim for the 100-day EMA and then the 200-day EMA. For the downside, I would like to see maybe actually a break of this upside line first, and then do something about it. So if we do get that break below this upside line, then we could target the this right there, the 0.5860 territory, and that could be quite an interesting level to watch. USDJPY. So this one is a roller coaster ride. There we go. Look at this. I mean, we popped above the 147.87 territory. We stayed above it. Yesterday, we drifted heavily back to the downside because, again, the stock market was kind of, declining. Yen buying kind of resumed, and then we're now seeing a reversal again, a push back up. So it's very, very confusing. But one thing, what's not confusing is that my level here, the 147.50, is doing a good job, providing good support. And as you can see, that's why I kept an eye on it. And in order for me to go lower in the short run, I need to see a break below that hurdle right there, this 147.50. For the upside, this did not work, the 147.87. I think it's time to mark the highest point of this week, or should I say the current highest point of this week, because we're very close to that. And to be honest, the day has only started, so we might see some surprises, so let's wait and see. USD, if we do pop above this 148.46, my next target is the 148.85. USDCAD, beautiful hold up. Okay, that's great. So we had a nice, beautiful false breakout right there. So that's, like I said, that's fine. I need to see that the body of the daily candle staying above this territory, above that 1.35 zone. If I get that, great. I'll go to the upside. At the moment, the downside scenario is not off the table, so in a way, we are considering something like this. So, if we continue to trade below the last EMA here, the 50-day EMA, and below this hurdle, this 1.35 zone, then yes, I will aim for the downside again. USDCHF yesterday, just bear with me. Yesterday we saw a devaluation of the Swiss franc, and the reason for that was that it happened after the Swiss National Bank came out with the idea that they want to keep the rate the same, and they did. So initially they were forecasting the 25 basis point increase, but they decided not to do that and kind of stick to the other banks. So it's kind of, and that's why the heading of my video this week is, today is that all kept rates unchanged this week. So yeah, and it's quite interesting how they've all decided on the same thing, right? Okay, not coincidental at all. But anyway, we go from what, we accept the information and we try to adjust, in the market accordingly. So what I said to you before, that if we do pop and stay above this 200-day EMA, my next target is this territory right there, the 0.9148. Look, for now, I am going to target the upside, yes. 0.9017 is something that I'm keeping a close eye on. Yes, as long as we remain above the 200-day EMA, I'm going to continue targeting the upside. If we somehow drop lower back below this back below the 200-day EMA, I will consider a move lower right towards this upside line. So basically, I'm going to consider a larger correction to the downside. US dollar against the Mexican peso. This one's interesting. Okay, I can see that my internet is jumping around a little bit. Yep, for sure. Hopefully I'm going to last till the end of the video, basically, because, again, this is just a little bit annoying. USD Mexican peso. Yes, we're having a nice hold up near that 17 barrier. Look, still valid. If we want to go lower, then a drop below the 17 zone is required. For the upside, I need to see a push of this barrier, the 17.40 zone, in order to consider a bit of a move to the upside towards this 200-day EMA. This is my target, but only if I get a nice push above the 1740 zone. At the moment, there is a chance for us to see some downside. So, but again, for that, I need to see a drop below the psychological 17 target. GBPUSD. So continues to slide, and we also know why, because the BoE yesterday kept interest rates the same and did not go for the expected rate hike. So 5.25, yes, that's what they kept it at, and yes, market participants did not like that and sold the pound, because as we know, we need the opposite for the pound to go higher. We need interest rates to go, higher. However, look, in general, my mission accomplished. I was targeting this 1.2308, so that's great. So now my question is, can we see further declines? And if we stay below, if we continue to trade below this territory right there, this one right here, this 1.2308, then yes, my next target is somewhere around here, and then we'll take it from there. This 1.22 zone is something that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. Look, I know it's not far, but I do like that territory. So again, well, let's aim for that one for now, as long as we continue to trade below the 1.2308. If we somehow climb back above it, I will consider a move to the upside a little bit here, and then we'll take it from there. EURCHF. As I already mentioned, in terms of SNB, which is the Swiss National Bank, which decided not to go for a rate hike, and this is where we saw a nice explosion. Look at this beautiful thing. I talked about this, guys, a lot, and I said to you that if we do pop and stay above this 0.96 territory, I'll aim for the upper side of the range where we are currently sitting in. And we got that test. We also got a false breakout where we tested my downside line drawn from the high of the 31st of March. And this is great. Everything is working out perfectly. I like it. So now I think I will take a pause. My mission accomplished here. So I'll take a pause a little bit and I'll wait for my next kind of signal here. So at the moment, look, if you want to go higher, I think a break of this downside line is required. But even before that, we need to see a break of the upper side of the range where we're currently sitting in. So yes, a lot of ifs. For the downside, a drop below this territory right there would be required. So below this 0.96 zone, and if we do fall below it, then we would fall below the remaining EMAs here on my daily chart, and then yeah, potentially more sellers could join in. EURNZD, so this one's flirting with this upside line so far. We pierced through it, but we found good support near the 100-day EMA. So let's see if we can actually remain below this upside line, and can we fall below the 100-day EMA? If we can, I'll go to the upside further, to the downside further, to the downside, to aiming for this upside line drawn from the low of the 13th of December of last year, and then we'll take it from there. EURGBP. So EURGBP is something that I'm keeping a close eye on here. Look, again, mission accomplished. I talked about this in the beginning of this week. I said to you that, look, we broke the downside line. Okay, great. We might see a bit of if we do see a reversal where we get a hold up above this downside line, my next target is the 0.87 territory, and we got that move. That's it. I'm leaving this one for this week, and I'm going to consider the upside only if we do pop and stay above the 0.87 zone. But somehow it seems like that we could go a little bit higher, maybe create a false breakout or something like that, and then drift back down next week, correct lower again, bounce around somewhere here, and then, go and decide somewhere. Maybe it will take a while we, let's say, break above this barrier right there. And let me just mark it for our future reference. And another thing, of course, maybe this is a nice little range here as well, which could be the case, to be honest. But again, confirmation breakout is required. EURJPY, we're not talking about ranges. There we go. There's another one. And we are seeing a nice, we're seeing here a nice sideways movement here. Although I don't like it, to be honest, I rather wait for a clear breakout through either the upper side of this range or the lower side of this range, and then we'll take it from there. So at this point, yes, that's my situation here. That's my game plan with this pair. For the downside, I need to see a drop somewhere below this 156.87. For the upside, 158.53 is required for me to have a nice break here in order to go higher. EURUSD, this one is flirting with this 1.0635 zone, and there we go. As you can see, it's somehow doing a good job in providing support. So if you're looking for some lower levels, I need to see a drop below the 1.0635. If I get that, great, more sellers could join in, and we could go to the downside. For the upside, I need to see a break of this downside line right there, which is drawn from the high of the 18th of July, and if we get that, then yes, my next target is the 1.0766 territory right there, and then we'll take it from there. That's my simplistic approach here on EURUSD. Look, in general, at the moment, overall, I'm still bearish, but I need that confirmation break below the 1.0635. If I get that, I'll go lower. But if I don't, if we see just some movement around here, I'm just going to take a neutral stand and wait for it to do something. Until then, yep, it is not something that I really like. So there we go. I'll keep this area here highlighted because, as you can see, it's quite an important one. That's the lowest point of May of this year. So we're currently stuck here above it. If we can clear it, yes, potentially this could attract more sellers and we could aim for that 1.05 territory somewhere around there. So guys, that's it for this session. First of all, I do apologize if there were any like internet interruptions or streaming interruptions today. Obviously there was one yesterday, so sorry for that one. I hope this does not repeat, but you never know. You never know, but look, I hope you found this useful. In general, thank you very much for sticking around with me this week. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for your views, for your comments, for your rocket ships in there. Really appreciate that. So if you want to catch me, on Monday, as always, 6 o'clock GMT time. But for now, have a beautiful trading day. Stay safe. Have your stop losses in place. Don't risk only what you can afford to lose. Don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. If you want to continue to please the trading gods, subscribe to our channel for a blessing.